Hi, subscribe to my channel Shobha Rana for more.
There's a whole
better.
stigma around, especially the mental health related medicines, right? People don't want to take them and they feel that they're put on them for too long, sometimes for even 2 years, 3 years. You're just on, it's an ongoing process, right?
Yeah.
So people kind of want to quit on their own and then see some repercussions and then come back on the medicine. So what are your thoughts there? What should one do if you're too scared of this whole process, right?
Yeah. It's not an easy question to answer. And the reason is that mental health as a science is still evolving. We as a scientific community, we are still figuring out what is the best way to handle anxiety, depression, bipolar. What is the best way? We know that some medicines work. We are not entirely sure why they work. We have theories. CBT works, behavioral therapy works. We are not entirely sure how much we can rely on them when it is an acute case.
True.
And so, because there is so much of subjectivity here, literally every person is a unique case. It's very difficult to give a generalized answer that if you have depression, you have to take this medicine for 3 months and you'll be fine. It's not like malaria. Right? It's not like tuberculosis.
Yeah, it's easier for us to trust our doctor if we, let's say, have malaria or dengue or any of these diseases. We know for a fact that medicine is the only way and it will help us get better, right? But we have a resistance when it comes to the mental health disorder because it's not so much in your face like that. Maybe it's not seen or maybe not tangible in the early stages of it. So there's a lot of stigma there for sure.
Absolutely, because we always distrust what we don't see. And because, say, for example, anxiety is on a spectrum. If you're talking of malaria, nobody has a little bit of malaria. So either you have it or you don't. But all mental health issues lie on a spectrum. So we have all felt anxious. That is not a problem. Anxiety, feeling anxious is a part of life. Feeling sad is a part of life. Anxiety disorder is not. Depression is not. So this understanding takes nuance. We need to be taught that it's a spectrum. Till a particular point, it's good, it's normal, it's in fact healthy. But beyond a particular point where it starts interfering with our lives, where we find ourselves unable to eat, unable to talk to other people, unable to do our jobs, that is when it becomes an issue. So we need to have that sort of cognitive level to understand that itna tak theek hai, but iske aage I need to reach out for help.
Actually, yeah, because all of these emotions that we negate as negative emotions, let's say anxiety or fear or, any of grief, all of these emotions, I feel that they are very necessary because if you don't have anxiety, how do you perform? How do you think about the next thing? How do you plan better? If you don't have fear, you will just walk into the mouth of a tiger or you'll just bump into a car on the road, right? So you need to have these emotions, but how do you sort of understand the nuanced version of it when it stops working for you and it starts becoming a default mode that you rely on so much and then it sort of translates into all areas of your life. I think that's where caution is needed and the understanding is needed.
My favorite word is learning emotional regulation. And this is a big part of behavioral therapy because what happens in a lot of mental health issues is emotional dysregulation. When you start feeling anger, for example, anger is very normal. If somebody hits you, that anger is not abnormal. It is a very protective thing. And that anger emotion keeps spiking. But immediately there are supposed to be corrective mechanisms in your brain that allow you to regain control and calm down and think rationally. Suppose that protective mechanism is not there. And you are completely overwhelmed by that anger. You pick up a rod, you start hitting somebody, you break
you let
cars.
Loose completely.
Absolutely. That's what happens in mob mentality. Everybody just collectively loses their protective mechanism. They become complete slaves to that core primitive emotion, right? So emotional dysregulation is the problem, not emotion. And any kind of unregulated emotion can really lead you down to a very bad path. Whether it's anxiety, whether it's sadness, whether it's anger, any kind of emotion, unregulated can take you to trouble.